Hey everybody, welcome to Beauty, Cocktails, and Girl Talk. Today we're talking to Shannon Carbonell, and she has a book launching soon, so stay tuned.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Good. How are you, Shannon?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Shannon.
Oh,
We're so
my
excited to have
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
you. Of course.
We have one of our signature questions for you to start off. What is the number one beauty product that you must have?
Okay, there is one, and I've just become a fan, and it's an expensive one, so I don't really do much else. But it's the Augustine. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to say his name right. Augustine Bader. Is that right? And it's called The Cream. You guys are younger than me, so you don't need it right now. But when you do,
no, I love good skincare. I'm all about good skincare.
Yeah, so it's amazing. It's just called The Cream, and it's in a blue bottle. If I could run upstairs, I would right now and get it for you, but my dog could take my place. But, oh, it's amazing. And you can get the small travel size, the next biggest, the biggest. It's expensive. But you just use a little bit. And I was on, you allowed to mention stores? Can I mention stores?
Yeah, of course.
You know Violet Gray?
Yes, I've heard of Violet Gray.
Yeah. I was on her website, and it was, beauty people, makeup artists, whatever, were talking about this, and it was their must-have product, and they were running out of it. So that just went.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was running out of anything. I'm like, I've got to get it now. And so I started
really
with a small one.
It's just me. Do I have like a super dirty mind, or do you think The Cream is an unfortunate name for that?
Well, I've got some other stuff for that. So you go read it right now.
Oh my God.
I did find some amazing stuff. CBD. You don't need that right now. Oh, but I tell you what the advertisement was for that stuff. It was the brand. Oh, and I'm gonna forget the brand's name. It'll come to me. But the subcaption was, "You're gonna need a bucket."
Oh
God!
No. Ready, babe? You're gonna need a bucket. I'm in menopause.
Oh, jeez.
It's good. It works.
That was brilliant. Okay, that's good.
I've been married a long time too.
So Shannon, if you could quarantine with anyone living or dead for 24 hours, who would it be? What would you drink? It doesn't have to be alcohol. And what would you guys do?
Oh God. Anybody.
Anybody.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I think it would have to be Jane Austen.
Ooh, that is.
I think we would drink.
Deep.
Yeah, I think we would have to drink Cadillac margaritas, Jane, and I would just talk to her. I would talk to her about her writing process. I would talk to her about, her illnesses, but she'd be magically well on this island. We would swim and naked in the water, and I would drink margaritas with a little Grand Marnier on the top. And I'd love to hang out with her and become friends for a little while.
I love it.
In my head, I'm sure there's more people, but yes.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've read her back to front, sideways, 3 times around.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Amazing. So to build on that, what is your idea of an epic girls' night in or out? Pre-COVID. post-COVID?
Okay, so I've had a lot of those. Gosh, and more so now. Well, okay, no. I think back when I was younger and wanting to fall in love, I had great epic nights. I grew up in a little town called Avalon Beach, and we were in a kind of a big gang of people, but all the guys were surfers, and we were all like towel holders back in those days. Now all the girls surf, which is great, but they were big fiberglass boards when we were young, and we never wanted to get our nose broken or anything like that. So it would be, I would get on the bus like I used to with my girlfriends, and we would, I'd be at my house, and my dad used to give us a couple of glasses of wine, which was so sweet.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we'd get on the bus a little tipsy. and drinking age in Australia is 18, so we were a little younger. And then we'd go to a party, and one of the best parties they ever did was, do you know the movie Big Wednesday? Oh, you have to watch it. It's the greatest surfing movie I think that was ever made. And they would love to imitate this movie. Like, we kind of were living that life, just being on the beach, and everyone had nicknames. And so one time they had a Big Wednesday party, and they literally, a lot of them they'd already left high school, because all they could do in high school, the high school was looking over the beach. And once you hit the higher floor, you were in the upper classes. And if the surf was, they could see the surf. And if the surf was big, there would be nobody at school, no guys at school, at least. They would leave after like the first period and go and surf. So they left and became, they were laborers and bricklayers and, electricians and plumbers. And these guys do really well now, actually. And they're great guys. But so they all had big pickup trucks, and they filled them with sand. And they took it into one of the backyards that they would rent houses together. And they put so much sand in the backyard, you thought you were at the beach. And then everybody dressed up like the characters in the movies, which is basically how we dressed. It was sort of like the movie was made in the 60s and the 70s, and this was the 80s. And I would go there, and I would meet the guy that I first fell in love with. And he would be sitting there like he was, with his leg up and a little cigarette in his mouth. And he was like a rude boy, which was, they were much milder then. He had his hair shaved a little long on top. And I'd sit down next to him. We would talk. And like maybe at the end of the night, he'd like give me a little kiss. And I'd be like, that was my first kiss.
Aww.
And I never felt romance like that. And then we'd make plans next week with my friend, and we'd all go out, and I'd be like elegantly wasted. Oh my gosh, that's my brother. I'm so sorry. Turn that one down. Now it's on this time.
It's just like a brother to interrupt you.
I know. Thanks, my brother. Yeah, he came and cockblocked me, basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would be my best girls' night, because my girlfriend would meet his friend. This actually happened. Basically.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm imagining this happening. Like, I feel like I'm back where you are. Like,
and that was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is what a great kiss feels like. Because I'd had a lot of other kisses that were gross.
First love.
Yeah. And he had a lazy eye, and it kind of went up to the side. And I just thought it was the most amazing thing.
You got it. Well,
I hope he never sees this. Oh my God, I would die.
I don't know if you wrote about it in your book. First of all, congratulations on your book.
Thank you. I have it here.
Right? Oh, let's see. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that cover.
Thank you. There's a little Easter egg here too. You can't see, but this is a woman under the plane. We have to buy
it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the book, because I know that you talk about your life. So tell us about it. What inspired you? Like, tell us all about it.
Well, the book is really about, I was a working actress. I wasn't a big star, but I worked pretty regularly on TV mostly. And I had my first baby, and I still worked. But then once my second baby came, I I lost a little bit of my drive to work. And also all the work had gone out of LA at that time. And I basically, and my husband was working all over the place. And I decided that I should give up acting and become a full-time mom to my 2 little boys at that time. And sort of without me knowing it, I almost immediately was gut punched by only me. And it was sort of my own ego and my ambition. And I was fighting with it, even though I made the choice. And I sort of became at war with that, and feeling like a loser, feeling like I never made it, having no sense of self. My whole sense of self was wrapped up with being an actress and a famous actress, and all these dreams I had that I just put away very quickly to become a mom. I thought I would be at peace with it, but I really wasn't. And I was incredibly lost. And for quite a few years. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to find myself. And I'd say to my husband, I feel like I have nothing. I feel like I'm nothing. I'm a mom. And I knew I was doing the right thing by my kids. Well, what I thought was the right thing. But I didn't feel like I thought I would feel. And so then Nestor was on Lost, and he was traveling a lot. But by the final year of Lost, they said, you're going to need to be here full time with your family, because we're going to need you in every episode. So we all moved to Hawaii, and it ended up being this really amazing year where I think it was being away from LA and sort of seeing it, and then no work. I mean, it was just no industry except for the people on the show. But I met this incredible group of women, mostly moms, and Nestor met their husbands too. And I wasn't planning on doing that. I was planning on being very quiet and trying to fix this problem. But somehow it was all these friends, and they took me on these adventures on the island. And I had this real feeling with the land. The land is really mystical over there, and it runs really deep. And I had this really intense connection. And then these adventures, all these interesting things would happen. And just without me knowing it almost, I began to fill in. Something in me just filled in, and it's very emotional. I don't know. I began to find who I was without all that crap that I'd almost brainwashed myself into needing to be when I was very young. And it was almost like signs, like the show Lost. It was like there were signs along the way, and things that we did as a family, or that I did with these women, and that they showed me a lot. A bunch of them were military wives too. And one of my best friends, her husband was in Afghanistan most of the time. And I watched her, and I watched just how much grace she had, not knowing what would happen to her husband and mothering her kids. And she taught me a lot. And I saw the bigger picture, and I kind of, without knowing it, I journeyed back to who I really was. And by the end of it, I had a horrible problem, because I had grown so in love with these people and the island. We had to leave, but I'd almost completely gotten better. And then there's something that happened back in LA where I really discovered what I needed to be whole again. And I had this story, and it was funny, very sad at times, because there were a few big family fights. And the kids were hysterical, and they taught me to in many ways. And then I had journaled the whole thing, and I found I had a book, and so I wrote it.
That is so beautiful. It sounds like you went on this like deep spiritual journey with everything that you're talking about, with like the signs. That's why I was asking you if it was like a spiritual awakening, because it sounds like you were having synchronous moments. It's something like Deepak Chopra talks about. It's like synchronous moments, like with the signs, because it felt familiar to you. Like, was it kind of like a deja vu type of moment when you were there?
I mean, it wasn't even like, some of the moments I didn't even know were spiritual. I mean, some of them were just moments.
Yeah.
And when I look back at it, I was like, oh my, I mean, some of them, I had this wild exchange with this woman at Long's drugstore, just getting my prescriptions. And it's so funny. And she called me. A woman from Long. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to talk. What is she going to talk to me about? And I'd been feeling really kind of needy. And she just called me to say, I'm so sorry I didn't recognize you. I see you've done a lot of work. I was fawning all over your husband, but I didn't recognize you. And I thought she was going to talk to me about my medication. I was like, oh, it's so embarrassing. What is she going to say to me? And then I was waiting for her to talk about my medication. And all she did was just call me to say that.
Aww.
And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I said, I don't mind. I mean, I do love it when people recognize Nestor. And it was like, but it wasn't that she acknowledged me as an actor. It's just that, oh, she really saw me. And it was sort of like, wow. I just talk about the weather with the people at Rite Aid here. And in some ways I like that anonymity, but it was just this, I don't know, it was just her. And I was really nervous. I'd had this big family fight before that, and I was getting the jitters. And I was like, if this woman can be so open and just see everybody. And I noticed she was like that with everybody when I was next in line. And I was like, if she can just see me completely undressed and with my medicine and all my flaws, why can't I just do that? Why can't I just step out there? Just the mom of my kids, the wife of Nestor, no Hollywood, nothing. And it gave me the courage then to sort of go on a hike with somebody I didn't know who wanted to hike with me. And because before I was like trying to get out of it, I'm like, I'm going to do that. And that led to this amazing hike, which was very spiritual. Yeah. These moments just led to the next and the next and the next. So there were like really practical moments that led to really deep spiritual moments like you were talking about. It was wild.
So inspiring, and just like hearing your story is just like, wow. I mean, just the gestures and like the little acts of kindness that this woman brought to you, and like how it made you feel about yourself, and just it like opens up this awareness about other things. You're like, why am I hard on myself? Like, why am I being so critical?
Yeah. And it probably happens everywhere, but I don't know why. It just took me getting away and being in this beautiful place to notice it. Or maybe I had reached the end of the line I couldn't figure out it. I couldn't figure out anything. I asked every question. I talked to Nestor about it ad nauseum. I knew I just couldn't talk to him about it anymore. And suddenly I shifted. It's almost like in the show, they talk, and I couldn't help but relate it to the show a lot because he was filming it. And I was a huge fan of the show before even before Nestor auditioned. I was like, if you ever get a chance to audition for this show, you've got to audition. This is the best show. I was a big fan. Like I couldn't even, like when I'd met cast members, I had to really stop myself calling them their character names. Like, okay, his name is not Hurley. Call him Jorge, okay? Just remember that. And so I was kind of tuned in to the island too and then it was like, oh, we shifted our bearings because they talk about, they shifted the degrees or the longitude and the latitude of where the plane crashed. And I'm like, oh, we did that. We changed our bearings and now I'm seeing the world from a different place. It was almost like I kind of imagined myself on this journey, but it really worked. It was wild.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was great.
So who was the first person that read your book after you finished and you had it done?
Well, Nestor always, poor guy. I ran everything by him. But I actually wrote it I went as far with it by myself as I could. And then I'm like, okay, this is okay, but I know it can be better. So a friend of mine said, why don't you sign up for a class at UCLA, a memoir class? So I did that. And I found this great teacher through that class. And the class itself was just wild. Like imagine being in LA with a whole bunch of people writing their memoirs. Like they were like sane people, crazy people. It was wow. There were two women in there who realized their story was really intense. They were they were in a sex cult, both of them, but one in Argentina, one in somewhere in Asia, I think. And
wow.
eventually they found out it was the same cult. And yeah, so, and then they kind of started to think, oh, they don't want to steal my story. I mean, this is really wild things happening. And then the teacher said, there's a million girls probably writing about their sex cults. I hate to say it, there are, but you got to make it your own story. It's your point of view on that story, and then they teamed up. It was so wild to watch this class, and they were just so very interesting people in this class. And so after that class, I just said to her, I hear you coach. I'd love to have a book coach, almost like a trainer, like a physical trainer. And so I worked with her a lot. And so she read it a lot too. And then I had a few girlfriends weigh in.
Wow.
It was really Nestor read. He was.
You gotta be the husband first, right?
Yeah, but he's like my best buddy. He's my best friend.
Yeah, of course.
He's everything. So, yeah.
So Shannon, I know that you kind of touched on this already, but when it comes to challenges, like it definitely helps us evolve as people, like any challenge in your life. So whether this is in the book or this is just something else that you want to share, whatever you feel comfortable talking about, tell us about a challenge you had, like what you learned from that experience about yourself throughout it.
Okay, so I'll do something completely not in the book. Okay, this is a big challenge. I feel like it's going to be serious though.
That's okay. We're gonna jump to something fun and light after.
Okay. So this is a serious challenge I had. I had like a dryness on my lip, and I had a dermatologist who left it for 4 years. And I kept saying to her, "Can you just cut this around?" She's like, "Oh no, I don't want to mess with your lips." I had kind of different lips; they were a bit bigger, lower lip. Anyway, I actually went back to Hawaii to visit our friends, and it started bleeding. And one of my friends said, "You gotta get that looked at. This is not good. Your lip is bleeding." And they know in Hawaii too. They get all their skin checked all the time. And I said, I know. One time she said it was herpes. I'm like, well, I never, I do not have herpes. And then she put this cream on it and nothing happened. I said, I told you, I do not have herpes. And anyway, she said it was all different kinds of things. And yeah, 4 years later, so my friend told me this and I said, I'm making an appointment now. That night I made an appointment with, because they're ahead of time. So I was able to make an appointment. And I made it with a doctor who was not her, but in that same office. And I went in and I said, "Can you just biopsy the crap out of this? Dig deep, I don't care." And the other doctor had biopsied it, but not very well. And it came back, sure enough, it came back cancer, stage 2. And this was a challenge because then they said, well, you just have to go and have Mohs surgery, which means that you're all in a room together, all these people, and you go to the doctor, and that day he starts to cut your cancer off wherever it is on your face and or on your body, I guess. And so I went in, there's all these old people, and they're all coloring like mine, like really pale skin, blue eyes, pale hair. I thought, oh, it's going to be so easy. I'm going to be out of here in a second. So he starts cutting, and then they look at it through a microscope and they see cancer cells. And after the cut, they see more cancer cells. And so, you can go, like there's 90-year-olds leaving, and I'm sitting here and so this was about 5 years ago. So I'm like in my late-ish 40s. I'm the last person there from the day. So he's cut about 6 times, keep seeing cancer. So we knew, my husband and I were sitting there, we knew something was really bad. And so we went back in and he said, I've cut most of your lip off, this side of my lip. And I was like, wow. He said, do you want to see it? I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. And he goes, the only thing we can do for you is to cut the other half off. I'm like, I'm not going to have a lip. And I'm vain too. Like I was one of those women who would look at my eyes like, I will never have to have a lip injection. This is the one thing I've got my lips, kind of proud and obnoxious, thinking to myself. I would never say that to anybody else. And he said, yeah, so we're going to have to do this surgery. And he was saying it like it was like, it's a little big surgery. That's how he's described it. He said, we're going to cut your whole lip off. And we're going to take some skin from this part of your mouth and we're going to pull it over. And it's called a mucosal flap. And we're going to pull it over and we're going to just stitch here. Most of my patients say they get a dry lip. That's a side effect. I'm like, what? Hold on, what? And he goes, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to schedule you a bit later because I'm going to have to sew up the other people's, all the other geriatrics, like, little tiny things. Here I am. And I think he knew I was an actress, but I didn't do it anymore. He goes, yeah. And he goes, I'm sorry. I know this is hard. And then Nestor and I go back into the car and we're like, this is bad. We knew it was bad. So we called our doctor. But, once your wound is open like that, you can't get a plastic surgeon. You can't. And this guy was a great doctor. He was a great doctor anyway. So we go back the next day and I think I must have gotten at least 70 shots in my mouth. And the most challenging thing, so this is my most challenging thing, was to lie down, get those shots. And Nestor had to look out the window. He was like holding my leg, but he couldn't even look. And it was pure vanity. It was like, lie still, don't cry, don't freak out. Because I want to have a good lip. I want it to look good. So it was so freaking painful. And anyway, it actually all went wrong. And that was another challenging part because the lip, all the stitching came apart and the lip dehisced. And I ended up with this very tight, I could only smile like this. And I did have a moment where I looked in the mirror and I had to come to terms with this might be it. Like this might be how I look. And I did say to myself, I'm really vain. And I said, well, at least I can show pictures of myself as I used to be to my boys. And I can say, this was how I looked. And I went, then this is how I will look. And I'm a vain person. So it's probably I deserve it. But it was a hard moment. But anyway, long story short, we went to plastic surgeons after that. And the one surgeon, he said, don't do anything. All you need to do is get in the shower and stretch your lip like this. 6 months. Yeah. And it's still not the same, but I managed to get a smile back.
But your lips look perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to show you. I have a big smile. And I need to do it. I haven't done it in a while. And I get this side plumped up. So I do have to have a lip injection here. And so I guess it goes to show you actually, don't ever don't ever covet your own thing that you might have because then you'll lose it. But it was very challenging. It was a very challenging time.
Thank you for sharing that story with us and being so honest and open about it.
Oh, my pleasure. Put sunblock on your lips, ladies.
Yes.
I don't think either of you have to worry, actually. It's always the blonde, blue-eyed, pale skin, freckly, but you probably should do it anyway.
Well, sunblock is so important.
It is.
Can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
What is a mantra that you live by?
Oh my God, that's the best question. That is such a great question. I just was watching around the LA school district, you can watch these kind of thought leaders. And there was this thought leader, it's an amazing woman. I wish I knew her name, but she's in she's sort of all about the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And she's an African-American mom, and she was amazing. It's right after, all the Black Lives Matter stuff. And she was talking about dealing with her child, and she'd made a stereotype against white people, and she was so amazing with her daughter. Oh, because the daughter wanted, what was it? The daughter wanted, she was watching a cartoon, the daughter, and she wanted to dress up like the white girl, not the black girl in the cartoon. And the mom was sort of questioning that. And then the grandma said, let her dress the way she wants. And this woman totally fessed up to that. And she was just so amazing to listen to. And I was like, this woman can really teach me something. And the one thing she taught was that her family has a mantra. And I was like, she was just brilliant. And I'm always into people fessing up, I'm about fessing up. And so I listened to her hard from that moment on. And she said, I always give my family a mantra. And I was like, what's my family's mantra? And I realized when the boys were growing up, we did have a mantra, and it was about be good and be kind. So be good and be kind. And then I thought, but that's changed as they've grown up. Now they're good and kind boys. And now, and especially now when, this country's divided and we are all coming to a reckoning and really dealing with the way we look at the world, and we have to take good hard looks at ourselves. And I told the boys, be brave and be truthful. So that's our mantra. Bravery and honesty. And I learned that from this woman. And so that's my mantra.
The simplicity of it, but it's so powerful.
It's so powerful. You've really got to look deep to find the truth. Mm-hmm. And you've got to be brave enough to admit it. Mm-hmm. And then talk about it, like this woman was able to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So, okay, we have a few fun questions to close it off.
Fun,
silly questions. Naomi, why don't you ask the first one? Just ask whatever you want on the list, or you can make up your own.
Yeah. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower. You know what? My superpower would be that everybody learned history and everybody was open to a deep understanding of it.
Oh, I like that.
I think we would all find a great meeting point.
Yeah, I love it. Okay.
Bombs.
So, okay, I have to ask this.
If I was really honest, I'd be like, I could get all this money and just live like a queen. That's my real but my deep wish.
So we've been asking this a lot in our interviews just because these are our favorite stories to hear. And if you're comfortable sharing this, what did Nestor do to win you over? Like, what was it, that moment? Like, did he do something charming or was it goofy? Like, what did he do to win your heart, to win you over?
Okay, so you guys are young. I can tell you're really young, right?
Well, not as young as I'd like to be. No. But you know what? No, it's all about the
You're young.
I wish, but thank you.
Okay, this is so bad what you did. But I'm telling you, it won me over. So we were on a show together. I could tell he liked me. And but on this show, I didn't even know if you would say this. On this show, okay, so he was kind of like flirting with me, but on this show I wore really short mini skirts, and I was a businesswoman, so I wore. You remember Heather Locklear in Melrose Place? Did you guys ever watch that?
Yes, I think was on the CW.
Yeah. She was like this sexy. Yeah, it was on the CW years ago.
Yeah. I think
yeah. Her whole thing was she wore these really tight little mini skirts with these jackets, and they were like a business suit. And that's how they were dressing me on the show, with little tight skirts and a jacket. Well, Nestor, I don't know if I should even say this.
You can say it.
There, okay, it's raunchy. So I was sitting there, and I had my legs together, and he literally like took one of my legs and like shifted it to the side. I was like, oh my God. So he would get fired today, right? But I was like, oh, like this. And I thought, oh my God, I have to go out with this guy. That's how he won me over. And most places would call that workplace sexual violence. For me, it was like foreplay. I loved it.
I say.
It's very spicy.
Yeah, but he ended up being the best guy too. Like he is a gentleman. But yeah.
What is your greatest pet peeve?
Oh, that my screens are dirty.
Oh,
my device screens are dirty. I can't stand it. And then my kids, when they have little food scabs on them, it drives me nuts. Their screens open.
You gotta like wipe it down right away. Like
I'm just like, and then they do it on the fridge handle too. There's all food. Biggest pet peeve.
I totally hear that. All right, let's see. Are you on social media?
Only Instagram.
Okay.
I don't know. I have a Facebook page too.
Okay. So I don't know if you get these, but like, have you gotten any like funny or strange like DMs or comments that you remember that were memorable?
No, but there is I'll tell you the funniest sort of comment from a stranger. So my girlfriend and I, we went in and we were just having a little dinner party for our 50th birthday, and we were just invited a few mutual friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to this cake store. The greatest, if you ever want to get a cake, it's right near the Ivy, and it's where the Ivy gets their cakes, Naomi's. And they put these chocolate covered strawberries on it, and we were like, we're getting this cake, we're splurging on this cake. We went into the store and we sort of argued over what cake we were gonna have, and it was all back and forth. And then at the end, the cake guy was standing there, he was young, and he said, okay, what do you want to write on it? And we said, well, happy birthday, Rohina and Shannon. No, I think we said, happy 50th birthday, Rohina and Shannon. And we'd already said, and he goes, your names are Rohina and Shannon. We're like, oh, yeah. The cake's for us. And he's like, oh. He goes, oh, don't worry. I went to my prom by myself. We were like, oh my God. And we were.
You thought you were celebrating your birthdays by yourself?
Yeah, I thought we were just going to go home and eat cake together. And we were like, yeah, we're losers. That's us.
Oh my God.
So I guess that's the biggest dorky comment I've gotten.
Naomi, you want to close it off?
Yes, absolutely. All right. Finish this sentence. Never have I ever.
Climbed a tall mountain.
Oh, wow.
I've never done that either.
Or
Me either.
dog, obviously.
Because you think in LA, right? Like LA, everyone's like, there's like so many mountains, like the canyons. Everyone's goes to, what is it, Runyon Canyon? I think that's like one of the popular spots, right?
Mountain, though. But even then, my friends won't hike with me because I'm too slow.
I don't understand hiking. It's just walking outside.
Yeah, you and my kids. I don't really love it either, I gotta say.
Yeah, like people buy special clothes for it and everything. I'm like, you're just walking outside. You're not doing that.
Exercise I love. I wish I could. I so wish I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me one if you guys know one.
Those at-home workouts aren't the same.
I know they're not.
I'd love to fall in love with Peloton, but we can't afford it yet. So buy my books.
I don't know. I don't even know if I could get into that. Not
Into
getting
what?
anywhere.
Some people love it. But,
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Shannon, thank you so much for being here. This went by so fast. It's like, oh, it goes by. You were so, it was so much fun just talking to
you guys are the best. I love you guys. I kind of want to adopt you and then you come with me.
Thank you.
Thank
Girls I
you.
never had. I want you.
I know, I feel like we can, like, I don't know, like, just the connection. I know it's Zoom, but it's like so nice to, like, I feel like I can feel your presence, you know,
I
like
can
even
feel
though
you both easily.
over the computer.
I really do. Like, I want you. You know how when, like in the old days, like, you know, the great aunts adopted the young girls at the marrying age.
Oh,
Yeah.
You into society, both of you. Oh, I'd love that.
Thank you so much. This is so much fun.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I love you too.
Well, have a beautiful rest of the week.
Yeah.
And,
hopefully stay in touch on Instagram and then definitely come to my book party.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Stay
Thanks,
healthy,
guys.
stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. That was so much fun.
That was a lot of fun. She's great. I didn't even realize it's been like it was over an hour. We were like just chatting with her.
She welcomed us with open arms as soon as she came in.
Yep. She was like, I'm ready to go. Ready for some girl talk.
I know, and she had such interesting, like, that's like an understanding, like interesting stories, especially about like Hawaii and her connection and her like journey like with herself and just finding friends and being in this beautiful environment. What stood out to you, like, just during our girl talk?
Just how open she was about talking about her growing process and her journey, like to becoming a better human. Like,
Yeah,
she's planning to become the best human she could possibly be, just like her evolution. And she's just like open. It's like, here I was here, and then I'm going here and there, and then next is, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she wrote about it a lot, about it in her book, and you know, talking about her relationship like with her father, and then like her marriage, and then like the cancer. I mean, that's a lot. Like, but she's so, like you said, open and also like wise about it. Like, she was very self-aware.
Yeah.
I just loved her energy. I felt so, it was like so warm and so welcoming. Like, I literally felt like I was in her house and she like opened the door. It's like, come on in.
Yeah. Like I was like, I want to get dinner with her.
Yeah.
Like, let's do a girls' night out once COVID is past.
Totally. I feel like I would love to be adopted by her. But like, she's so young. And, like,
please.
but yeah, I'm excited for the book. I'm gonna read the book. I'm just like gonna order it and like see what's next with her. I'm totally gonna like keep up with her on IG.
Yes, I love when you can keep up with people on IG. Finally.
Oh, the best way is like social media. At least now, like, you can keep engaging with people that way.
Exactly. And also, it doesn't hurt that she thought we were young.
I know. I was like,
young ladies.
I don't know what to say. Like, I wish I was younger, but like also at the same time, I'm like, I'm so grateful to be alive. So like,
I know, right? But I think she probably thought we were like 18, like, you know, super snappers. I'm like, yes.
God bless her.
I was like, no, we're 30-year-old ladies. Oh my God. But yeah, no, that was great.
It was so awesome. All right, well, girl, close it off.
That's it, guys. You've been watching Beauty, Cocktails, and Girl Talk, and we will see you next time. Bye.